Well, good evening and thanks for joining us here on News 20 on GTN. I'm Randy Gardner. We have a great show for you tonight. Joining me to my right from the American Red Cross is Dan Fox. Glad you could join us again. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
So what's been going on in the American Red Cross world? I know with the weather it's got to be very active.
Absolutely. Very active indeed. And actually maybe the opposite of that, not so active over the last couple of weeks because of the weather. And that's not always a good thing when it comes to blood donations. It doesn't allow us to collect blood as much as we'd like because our blood drives are being canceled and donors aren't able to make it out to those blood drives because of the snow and ice. So active, but not as active as we'd like to be.
Coming off the holiday season, we know during the holidays a lot of people are thinking about giving and donating, but you come out of that into February and March like we are now. Do you see a decline usually year by year in that little time frame?
Sure, absolutely. And you're absolutely right that it seems to start right after the holidays. And a big part of that is, you know, people during the holidays, they're spending time with family and friends. They're doing a lot of other things. They're not thinking about donating blood and thinking about doing things like that. And so after the holidays, they try to get back into the swing of things, and maybe they come off a bit of a, you know, a holiday hangover, if you will, where they're still in that holiday mode and not really ready to get back into the swing of things. And then you couple that with every year around this time, especially here in the St. Louis area, we see the snow and the ice. And even when it's been dry, it's been so cold that people aren't leaving their heated homes and offices to do much of anything outside, including visit blood drives. So we certainly do see a decline in blood donations each year around this time of year. This year seems to be a little more drastic because of the snow and ice that we've seen. In fact, not just here locally, but across the country, the Red Cross has had to cancel close to 600 blood drives just since the beginning of February, and that's resulted in a shortfall of nearly 200,000 donations, 200,000 blood donations because of those canceled blood drives. So you can understand how important it is as the weather's cooperating, as the roads are improving, to get out and help save some lives.
And that kind of leads me into, you talk about canceling one blood drive or someone not coming one time that usually gives blood. That really starts to put people behind the eight ball. Absolutely. A little at a time, and then it just accumulates.
Yeah, it actually, you know, to use a weather metaphor, it snowballs, if you will, you know, and certainly you're absolutely right. One blood drive gets canceled. Even if a blood drive isn't canceled, again, if the roads just aren't great, some of our donors don't really feel like making it out or risking it out there on the roads. We certainly understand that, and so that person holds off from donating blood. That's one unit of blood that we're missing. That becomes 2 units. It becomes 3 units. And I misspoke just a second ago. I should say it was about 20,000 blood donations that were short, not 200,000, but still 20,000 blood donations that we were expecting to get just in the month of February, and that's just 1 month, and that's the shortest month of the year. So you can imagine why. You can imagine how things do snowball. One blood drive becomes 2, becomes 3, and all of those missed donations could mean problems for the patients in need.
How many people, if you let's put it in perspective of 100% of people in the country, how many people actually donate blood? I mean, is the number as low as like 5%?
It is as low as like 5%. It's certainly less than 10%. Now, some of that is just because of donor eligibility. You know, you've got donors who are unable to donate blood or ineligible to donate blood for a variety of reasons. It could be health reasons, could be various medications that they might be taking. It could be age. You can't begin donating blood until you're 17 years old or 16 with signed parental consent. And so you've got some of those people who are ineligible, but still that leaves almost 40% of the population still eligible to donate blood, and less than 10% of those actually do.
And what's the general reason that you hear that people just don't do it? Is it because they fear it's going to hurt? I mean, that is always my rule of thumb, I guess you could call it.
No, absolutely, and that is certainly one of the reasons, is the fear of needles. But you might be surprised, the #1 reason the Red Cross gets when asked why don't you donate blood, people say, no one's ever asked me. And so with that in mind, you know, we consider this our ask. That if you're watching this today, if you can, if you've got a blood drive in your area, if you want to find one in your area, very easy to do. You can give us a call at 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org. Either way, find a blood drive in your area, come out and help save some lives.
You know, it's funny. there's so many reminders in this world of doing different things. And all the time when I get your email, it's almost, wow, this is probably a good time right now to talk to Dan about what's going on, you know? So do you, you talk about those reminders of people needing to do this. I'm sure you guys have something in place that reminds people, hey, it's your month to come,
Absolutely.
or your week, or your time.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we encourage, if you haven't already done so, if your viewers haven't done so and our blood donors haven't done so, we encourage them to download the Red Cross Blood Donor app for their smartphone. It's available absolutely free for your iPhone or Android device, anywhere you would download apps for either of those devices. And one of the really cool things that this app does, it allows you to find blood drives in your area, allows you to schedule appointments, and then it will send you a reminder. It'll actually sync up with your online calendar, with the calendar that's on your phone or the calendar that you use for work or what have you, and it will send you a reminder. But in addition to that, if you don't want to download the app or can't download the app, again, you can visit us at redcrossblood.org, or you can call us at 1-800-RED-CROSS, and we'll be happy to remind you either by email, by text message, or by phone call when your donation appointment is coming up, just to remind you to come out and donate. But again, there's always a good time to donate blood, and certainly this time is one of them.
In relevance to that, like myself, you know, you have children, busy life, things go on, but the difference that one giving of blood from yourself can make to an individual, to a hospital, to a community. Put that in perspective for us.
Yeah, absolutely. One blood donation, we say it typically takes about an hour to give blood. And for those of your viewers who are squeamish about needles already, I don't want them to think that they're going to have a needle in their arm for 1 hour. That is not the case. When I say about 1 hour, that's from the moment you walk into one of our blood drives to the moment you leave. The entire process takes about 1 hour. Typically, the actual donation, the actual act of donating blood from your vein into the bag, that usually takes about 10 to 12 minutes. But that's maybe 1 hour out of your day, but at the end of it, that one donation can help save up to 3 lives. So you can understand when we talk about all those donations we missed, those 20,000 or so donations we missed, you can start to multiply that by 3 and see how many patients we could have benefited and how many could have been helped with those donations. And then you really start to see how just one missed donation can have a really bad effect.
I know pain, you had mentioned not knowing is one of them. The pain aspect is always mine, but it really doesn't hurt.
It absolutely doesn't. And you talk to anyone who's donated blood a lot, most people will say, you know what, I don't even feel it anymore. It's one of those things, it's a tiny pinprick on your arm. Most people, including myself, when I donate, I don't look. I just look away, and you don't even realize it's in there. But we also encourage people who are maybe a little nervous about donating blood to bring a family member or a friend with you. If you just want somebody there for moral support, they're certainly welcome to come by and hold your hand during the process and be there to talk to you during the process. We also encourage people to bring reading material, bring their phone with them, bring their tablets with them, something to play with or something to read while they're donating. Helps the time go by, and it helps keep your mind off of that tiny pinprick. But again, we don't want people to forget about the impact they're having, the very positive impact they're having. Just 1 hour out of your day could help save up to 3 lives.
And it's a very safe, sterile atmosphere to have this done. Nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. All of our staff are highly trained individuals who go through weeks and weeks of training before ever going to a blood drive and before ever performing a blood donation. But in addition, the Red Cross operates as safely as we can under the guidance of the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. And then we also want to remind people that after they donate blood, we're still going to do tests on those blood products to make sure that those blood products are indeed safe and healthy to give to somebody in need. And after that testing is done, only after that testing is done, can we transport those blood products to hospitals and to the patients that need them.
We talk about it every time you're on, but it's almost one of those things where with certain things you almost have to just keep reiterating, and sooner or later somebody will go, you know, I remember seeing that on that show that one time, and then they end up doing it. That's kind of the scenario here. You know, we talk about donating blood, the importance of it every time you're on the show, but until the individuals out there recognize and realize what a difference it can make, and sometimes it comes down to when it touches them in their own life, then they realize the difference it can make.
That's
Do you see
absolutely
that?
right. Absolutely. We talk to a lot of blood donors who say, you know, I never really thought about it before until I needed blood or until somebody I knew needed a blood product. And it's really interesting to start looking at how many people actually do require. If you start asking your friends and family, chances are you know somebody who has required a blood transfusion at some point. In fact, about 1 out of every 10 people admitted to the hospital is going to need a blood transfusion. And these typically, when we think of people needing blood transfusions, people think of accidents, car accident victims and things like that. And certainly those patients can require blood transfusions, but they're not the only ones. People suffering from various forms of cancer often need blood transfusions. In fact, sometimes need daily blood transfusions as part of their treatment. In addition, people undergoing surgery sometimes need blood products. Premature babies might need blood products. Women going through childbirth may need blood products. So a variety of patients need blood. Sometimes it's a life or death situation. If they don't get they don't get that pint or two of blood, it could be the difference between life and death. Other times it's just prolonging their life or making their life better. So regardless of why the patient needs that blood product, donors should know that it's certainly in need and that each one of those donations, again, can help save up to 3 lives, but again, can have a positive impact on each one of those patients.
When you look at like someone who needs a transfusion where the blood is put in and the other blood comes out, is that blood reused also?
The only blood that's ever going to be reused is blood that's donated by a donor. And again, before that donation can take place, for anyone who's never been to a blood drive, I'll backtrack a little bit. I mentioned that the entire process takes about an hour. Let's talk very briefly about what that hour entails. And a big part of that hour, is making sure that you are healthy enough to donate blood. And so if you come in to donate blood at any of our Red Cross blood drives, you're going to meet with one of our knowledgeable staff members. They're going to ask you a series of questions about your health history, as well as other questions about if you've been traveling lately, what kind of medications you're taking, if any, if you've had any recent surgeries, anything like that. We're asking you those questions because we want to make sure, again, that the blood that you are intending to donate is healthy to give to somebody else in need. But we're not going to stop there with just asking questions. You're actually going to get a bit of a mini physical before you come in and donate. We're going to draw a little bit of your blood out of your fingertip just to test for your iron levels. Make sure your iron levels are high enough. We're also going to test your blood pressure to make sure your blood pressure isn't too low or isn't too high. And again, all of these tests done to ensure to the best of our ability and as safe as possible, make sure that the blood products are as safe as possible. And again, after that blood donation, it's going to go through even more testing to, again, ensure that the blood is as safe as possible. So again, for anyone who's maybe a little bit worried, if you've got a surgery coming up and you think, they might have to give me blood products, or if you know somebody who's going through cancer treatments and you know that they're getting blood products and you're worried, we want to make sure that that blood's as safe as possible. That blood is as safe as possible thanks to all of the steps taken by the Red Cross and by the hospitals we serve.
It almost seems like a very a weird thing to exchange blood with somebody else, but how safe of a environment is that to do that? I mean, I know this isn't a medical platform type show, but for your blood to go into my body,
sure.
Is there any resistance that someone has to worry about? How does that all work?
Sure. One of the things that, and again, I'm certainly not somebody to be going into too many medical details, but certainly one thing that we do ask people is what is their blood type before they donate blood. And if you don't know your blood type, that's okay. We'd still love to take your.
I don't.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. We'd still love to take your blood donation. And actually, the first time you donate blood with the Red Cross, a few weeks after your donation, you'll be getting a card from us in the mail, and that card will have your blood type on it. We will be able to type that blood after you donate it. But the reason why we sometimes ask that question of whether you know your blood type is because when it comes to patients in need, oftentimes those patients can only require a blood donation that has the same type of blood that they currently have. So, people ask all the time, well, what's the best type of blood? Or, is there a good type of blood, a bad type of blood? First of all, there's no bad type, but maybe the best type, if there were, would be type O negative blood. And the reason for that is it's the universal blood type, meaning it could be given to, type O negative blood can be given to any patient regardless of that person's blood type. It's often the type of blood that's given most often in emergency situations. If a hospital doesn't have time to determine a patient's blood type, they will usually give him or her O negative blood because they know that their body will be able to take it with very minimal, if any, complications. But again, that's why we ask for donors of all blood types to come out and donate blood, because we see patients of all blood types.
Now, what would be the difference between the differences in those blood? Like the O negative, and I know that's probably a real big medical thing.
That is
but I mean, is it something that if you put the wrong blood in me, I would die, or is it just reject it? Does it have more iron, or I mean, I don't know.
Sure, and that's a great question, and I would leave that to a medical professional. But again, we want to minimize any sort of risks, and so that's why, again, we ask for a diverse blood supply. We don't want to see all A positive or all O positive or O negative donors. We want to see donors from all different blood types, so that we can ensure that patients of all given blood types are receiving the transfusions that are going to work best with their body.
What's the feedback from most people who come to these events? They get their blood drawn and then they go, that was nothing. I got all worked up over nothing.
Yep, that's exactly right. A lot of people say, that's it? And not only is it when they realize it really doesn't hurt, it's not an invasive process, it's not a long process, but it's actually kind of fun, because at the end of it, you usually get something, whether it be a t-shirt or whether it be some sort of item as a thank you for your donation. In addition to that, you always get some delicious snacks at the end of it, some cookies or pizza or soft drinks or what have you. So you're always going to walk out of a blood drive well fed. You're always going to walk out with some sort of item as a thank you, but you're also always going to walk out knowing that your donation is going to help somebody in need. It is going to potentially help save the life of somebody in need. So yeah, a lot of times the reaction is, after somebody's donated blood, is, wow, that wasn't so bad at all. Why did I get so worried? And to take it one step further, they say, I think I'm going to do this again.
So how many pints of blood are in your body? How many do they take from you? And how long does it take for it to cycle back to where you're normal?
Sure, all great questions. Typically, the human body, the adult human body, would have anywhere between 9 and 12 pints of blood at any given time. And when you donate blood, you're donating 1 pint of that. And that's why we ask after your donation that you do get something to eat, that you get some of your nutrients back, because we are taking 1 pint of your blood. It is a safe amount to give. We don't want people worried that they're going to have a terrible adverse reaction and their body's going to fall apart after donating 1 pint. No, that's not the case. But we do ask that you get something to eat, you get something to drink, and you take it easy for the rest of the day after donating blood, because your body has just given up 1 pint of blood. And your third question is, how long does it take to replenish? Between donations, we ask that you wait 56 days, so roughly 2 months. So that, again, just gives your body plenty of time to replenish that pint, that pint that you donated, and replenish those nutrients.
I know the Red Cross isn't in the medical field on detecting medical problems, but let's say I come and is there certain things that are checked for in your blood? I mean, you have, high blood, but you name it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we mentioned, before you even donate blood, we'll be testing some of that stuff, such as your iron levels, such as your blood pressure. Now, if your blood pressure is a little high on that day, it doesn't necessarily mean you suffer from constant high blood pressure. You could just be a little nervous before your donation or what have you. Or if you come in and your iron levels are a little low, it doesn't necessarily mean that you suffer from long-term problems regarding low iron. You could just be a little bit low on that day, and we could certainly kind of give you some suggestions for things that you could do to raise your iron level for before the next time you come in. So that's a couple of things that we check for that day. But again, after your blood donation, we take that blood product to our state-of-the-art facilities right here in St. Louis, where we test those blood products for a number of illnesses and diseases, including hepatitis, including HIV, including syphilis. We're testing for all of those, again, to make sure that the blood is as safe as possible. And in the event that we determine that there is something amiss with your blood product, you will get confidential contact from the American Red Cross. We would then advise you to talk to your doctor to seek further treatment.
Where can someone go to find out more information in terms of a blood drive in their area, or if they want to hold one? because they're all over the community all the time.
Absolutely, and we do that by design. We want to make it as easy and convenient as possible for people to come out and see us. So if you'd like to come donate at a blood drive, or as you mentioned, if you'd like to come host a blood drive of your own, if you are a school, a business, you've got a building, or you're part of a community organization and you'd like to host a Red Cross blood drive, we'd love to work with you. You can find that information any number of ways, including by downloading the Red Cross Blood Donor app for your iPhone or Android device. You can also find us online at redcrossblood.org or give us a buzz at 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Any age requirements on when you can either start or stop giving blood?
Sure, absolutely. You have to be at least 17 years old to donate blood here in the state of Missouri, or 16 with a signed parental consent form, and we have those consent forms at all of our blood drives. There is no maximum age to donate blood. As long as you are still feeling healthy, you can donate blood. In fact, we see a lot of people who say, I've been donating for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years they've been giving blood, and they're able to do so because, again, there's no maximum age limit. As long as you're feeling good, as long as your blood's healthy, we'd love to see you.
I don't know even how to correlate this to anything, but you know, you think of correlating it to a car, that the oil starts to go bad. So with age, your blood doesn't get filtered out, go bad. Your blood is one constant, no matter how bad you feel.
Yeah, again, as long as you're feeling healthy, and again, as long as you are healthy, and there are things that might prevent you from donating blood, including various health problems or various medications you might be taking because of those health problems. In addition, we also tell people who travel a lot, if you were traveling overseas, you might have to hold back on donating blood when you return for a little bit, just to make sure you didn't catch anything while you were over there. So certainly there are some things, and especially as you get older, you might experience these things more and more. There are some illnesses that might prevent you from donating blood. But again, as long as you are checking out healthy-wise, and you're not on too many medications, and you're not doing a whole lot of traveling overseas, you're good to go as far as donating blood.
Dan, 30 minutes always goes really fast when you're here on the set. We've got about 3 minutes left here. Anything new with the Red Cross that you want to promote right now?
Yeah, right now we want to talk about, this is a very important month for the Red Cross. It's Red Cross Month. In fact, every March since the 40s has been Red Cross Month. Each president has designated this month as Red Cross Month, and it's an opportunity to remind people that they can be a hero. You know, when we think of heroes, we think of the men and women who wear badges. We think of the men and women who fight for our safety. We think of the men and women who run into burning buildings and things like that. And certainly those are heroes. And you think, well, I could never do that. You might not be able to do that, but you can still be an everyday hero. You don't need to wear a cape. You could still be a hero, and one of those ways is by helping out the Red Cross, whether it be by donating blood, by volunteering your time at a blood drive, or to help out other Red Cross programs, or you can donate money to the Red Cross. And again, you can find out information on how to be a hero any number of ways. Download that app, visit us online at redcrossblood.org, or give us a call at 1-800-RED-CROSS.
How does it make you feel personally? I know people feel great when they go give blood. They leave there going, wow, I'm really making a difference. You do this for a living.
Yeah.
How good does it make you feel?
It's a great feeling to get to go out to blood drives almost every day and talk to donors and talk to recipients as well. People who have been on the receiving end of it and people who are on the giving end of it. And again, when you asked, you know, what's the reaction after people are done donating, the reaction is almost always positive. People saying, I can't believe I was nervous about that, but also I want to do it again, because they realize that the process isn't really that invasive, it's not painful, and again, it's that gratifying feeling of knowing that you're helping somebody in need.
And about 1 minute left, giving blood and needing blood. This whole avenue is something that is needed every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just every day. Every 2 seconds, somebody in this country needs a blood transfusion. And that's why it's so important that we have donors come out, not just when the weather is good, or not just during the spring, not just during the fall, but every day of the year. It's very important to have donors come out to our blood drives and roll up their sleeves.
One more time, the website.
Absolutely. Visit us online at redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Dan, appreciate your time as always.
Absolutely.
Dan Fox,
thank you.
Communications Manager for the American Red Cross. We appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate you watching tonight. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow right here on News 20 on GTN.
Marine Corps Sergeant Andy Robinson was paralyzed when his Humvee was blown up in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get all the health care and benefits he's entitled to. To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.
The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah.
Itsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun.
And the farmer's wife, she climbed that house with the clover. Now, did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice.
Marine Corps Sergeant Andy Robinson was paralyzed when his Humvee was blown up in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get all the health care and benefits he's entitled to. To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.
The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah.
Itsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun.
And the farmer's wife, she climbed that house with the clover. Now, did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice.
Marine Corps Sergeant Andy Robinson was paralyzed when his Humvee was blown up in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get all the health care and benefits he's entitled to. To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.
The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah.
Itsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun.
And the farmer's wife, she climbed that house with the clover. Now, did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice.
Marine Corps Sergeant Andy Robinson was paralyzed when his Humvee was blown up in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get all the health care and benefits he's entitled to. To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.
The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah.
Itsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun.
And the farmer's wife, she climbed that house with the clover. Now, did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice.
Marine Corps Sergeant Andy Robinson was paralyzed when his Humvee was blown up in Iraq. Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get all the health care and benefits he's entitled to. To support paralyzed veterans, go to pva.org.